Hello everyone, so after a year of waiting, my Steam Deck finally arrived. So let's go ahead and talk about Steam in general. Let's talk about when you're going to see your Steam Deck, and let's talk about how when I got my confirmation message telling me to finish paying and get this thing shipped out to me, I actually almost chose to pass on the Steam Deck, but then later I changed that decision, obviously. So let's get into why. As for pricing, the Steam Deck is monstrously underpriced for what you're getting here and for what this thing is capable of. And Steam can afford to do that because the real moneymaker for Steam isn't the Steam Deck at all. It's through the games you purchase through Steam. Their digital game store that has been a standard for PC gaming long before the Steam Deck's unveiling. There's just nothing else like it on the market, especially at these prices. You want a PC for gaming, work, maybe school or general use? Consider the Steam Deck. Want a gaming laptop? Consider the Steam Deck. Need a gaming console? Consider the Steam Deck. Need a portable gaming console? Consider the Steam Deck. Want to play classic games or emulate games? Consider the Steam Deck. Tired of paying $60 plus for games? Consider the Steam Deck. Need I go on? So another thing worth mentioning, just because I see this come up the most in terms of general questions about the Steam Deck, and that's how loud does the fan get? So I don't know if there's any major differences between the Steam Deck that we have currently and the Steam Deck that was being shipped at launch. I'm talking about the very beginning with the earliest of adopters of the Steam Deck. I don't know if they've made any updates or completely replaced any components like the fan, for example, but in my experience, after playing some Jedi Fallen Order, Multiverses, Hollow Knight, and already putting in 43 hours into Temtem. Little embarrassing considering that I have not had the Steam Deck that long. I have not heard this fan at all, and that's with me not playing with the volume all the way up or anything like that, and I don't have any kids, so my house is relatively quiet. Can, however, say the loudest I have ever heard this fan work on my Steam Deck was when I first opened up the Steam Deck. I was downloading like 6 or 7 different games at the same time, all very different in file size, ranging from Cuphead and Multiverses to I was going to say Near Autonoma, but I think it's Near I can't say that word. Near Autonoma, we're going to say it at that. And Resident Evil Village. That was the only time I have heard that fan get noticeably loud. Just to let you know before we start, the reason I'm all sweaty and my shirt's all sweaty now is because literally as soon as I sat down to record, my dog wanted to go for a walk, and we wound up going for a hike. All right. Let's begin. So I actually wasn't going to do this. I did not want to do a first impressions section. I wanted to wait a couple days, play around with the Steam Deck a little bit more. I wanted to give it a couple days and then talk about it then. But I guess I'm doing a first impressions section because there is something that I wanted to talk about. So one thing I wanted to show you guys real quick is just look at the Steam Deck real quick. This thing is awesome. There's a lot of heat, by the way, coming off the top, these vents here to my fingers as I'm holding it like this. Very hot. But look at that. Graphically, the game, this is Outer Wilds of actually, I'm in the middle of a text thing talking to this guy, so I can't do anything. I've never played Outer Wilds. So right off the bat, that's something that I found very interesting. There's, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have done the same thing. There's a lot of games that I have on Steam. Steam sales keep coming up. I keep buying these damn games, and I keep not playing them. So it's funny because I was looking up like videos of like the best games to have for the Steam Deck, and a lot of the games I already had. I didn't even know. I just haven't touched them in so long because even though my setup is here, my TV's over there, and the PlayStation's right here, PlayStation's hooked up right here. For whatever reason, I don't play my games on my PC like that. I don't really know why, but so far the Steam Deck is very inviting. I guess the best way to put it is like I also do a lot of drawing. I do a lot of drawing on my iPad, but before I had my iPad, I had my a drawing tablet, and for whatever reason, it being hooked up to the, being forced to come to my desk because, I can't take it on the go, I just didn't really use it. I did not like being anchored to my desk. I didn't like, there was a lot of things I didn't like about it, but once I got the iPad, I love the sleekness of it. I love the ease of use with Procreate, and I was able to, and then also with there's an app you can use to connect it to your computer. That way you can, I could use like Adobe Animate if I wanted to and stuff like that. So I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that I'm more comfortable using the iPad. I can bring it anywhere. I can hook it up to the computer if I want to. Also, there's just more you can do with the iPad. Like I can watch movies on it if I wanted to, play games. For whatever reason, being anchored to my desk is not something I want to do all the time, especially if you spend a lot of time at your desk. So I just didn't really want to spend any more time at my desk. So I never really got around to a lot of these games that I bought that I know are good. Outer Wilds I hear is amazing. Never touched it, even though I think I bought it day one. But now I'm going to be playing that on the Steam Deck, on the go, wherever I want. What I do want to mention here, there was as soon as I got the Steam Deck, ready to go, One thing I was concerned about off the bat was, and let me go to it here, was the fact that not many games said that were under that deck ready tab. So when I show you the Steam Deck here, there's Great on Deck, there's all games installed. I have 138 games. I believe I have more, so that's weird, but I have 138 games on here, and there's only 32 of them that are Great on Deck. What I can say, and this is why I wanted to give it 2 days and not do a first impressions video, but after testing a couple more games that weren't under that Great on Deck section, they worked fine. The only thing with it was maybe like the text was too small or something like that, and it will mention it. So I recently downloaded Jedi Fallen Order. It's on sale. I don't have an affiliate with Steam or anything, but it is on sale right now if you wanted to pick it up. It's another game that like came out in like 2019, I believe. Really wanted to play it, never got around to it, so I went and just, I bought it as a game that I want to get on the Steam Deck. I know another one I want to do is Temtem, and that just got its full release. So let me go here. Let's go to Great on Deck, and let's just or all games. And there's a game that I want to get to here. Give me one moment. Here we go. So sorry for the wait, but Jedi Fallen Order is one of those games. Just so you can see real quick, there's a lot of green check marks, and then there's one yellow one showing that the game is playable, but maybe not the best. But to be honest with you, I actually did play some Jedi Fallen Order. Not a lot of it yet, but I played some Jedi Fallen Order, and all of the game runs fantastic. Everything's fine. At most, what it is that the text is small, but as you can check these games, it'll show you like these different icons. And for Jedi Fallen Order, all it says here is that this game's launcher/setup tool may require the touchscreen or virtual keyboard, or have difficulty to read the text, or it may be difficult to read the text. Sorry, I'm like trying to talk and I'm moving too fast, but that's all it was. The game works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Literally, the text was a little bit too small, and it's a handheld. Just get your glasses on, or move it closer. Hey, this is future me here. I'm currently editing the video. I'm gonna have to interject because I've chosen to do a first impressions video, so you may see this a little bit more throughout the video, just for accuracy, and because I've now have had the Steam Deck for 24 hours and I've been playing it nonstop. It's amazing. But what I do want to add here, I mentioned in this section that there are going to be certain messages that you see that from games that aren't under the deck ready tab that say, like, for example, text is too small. A lot of these games are like perfectly playable, and it says the text is too small. And some of my experiences, the text was a little small, and some of them, the text was perfectly fine. It was fine for me. I could read it just fine, so it wasn't an issue. I also need to add, after playing around with the Steam Deck a little bit more, I discovered that if you hold the Steam button, there shows a list of different options that you can do. You can hold the Steam button and press R1 to take a screenshot. You can hold the Steam button and move around the right trackpad and use it as if it were just a regular mouse. But also as a solution to the small text issue with some of these games, if you hold the Steam button and click L1, you can actually start the magnifier. So that way you can zoom in and look at the text, and you can also use the trackpad on the right side to move around. Another thing I wanted to mention here was the feel. As soon as I took the Steam Deck out of the box, I was very surprised, because like, as big as this is a lot bigger than the Switch. I don't feel like grabbing my Switch. I was gonna grab the Switch to compare it to, but it's downstairs. I don't feel like grabbing it. But it's significantly bigger than the Switch. But one thing I can say is that it's very, very light, very light. And holding it doesn't feel that much different than holding like a PlayStation 5 controller, or a DualSense controller or whatever. It does not feel that different or that difficult. Everything's very comfortable. I'm very excited to play this Steam Deck. I just had surgery on my hand, and I'm finally able to like play video games again. Even though I don't have full mobility just yet, but I can do that, so that's fun. But so I'm very excited to show you guys the Steam Deck. Another thing to mention that I thought was pretty cool was there's like a haptic feedback kind of thing. That's just what I'm going to call it because I'm used to the Switch. But as you run your finger across this trackpad, you will feel some feedback, some tactile feedback as you move it around. And I thought that some people complained about the touchpads, but I thought they were pretty cool. You don't have to use them, but I think that they work very well. But I wanted to mention the fact that this was very comfortable. And did I mention the speakers? I think I had to reshoot, and I haven't mentioned it yet. But the speakers on this thing. So I'm in Outer Wilds right now. Oh, the music stopped playing, so that sucks. But you can hear like the crickets and the fire crackling while I talk to this alien dude. Sucks that the music stopped playing because it was really good. I really enjoyed the music, but that's fine. And then, as you can see, I want to back out, and I can go through everything. Friends in chat. I think Nintendo really needs that. The store, and I can go through all this stuff, and I can leave and leave the game while still having the game run in the background, and then just resume when I'm back. What else did I want to mention? When it comes to the storage, so as you know that there's 3 different versions of the Steam Deck. For $399 you get the 64 gigabyte with the eMMC, and then for the middle one, that's the one I got the 256 gig for $529. Came with a faster storage, carrying case, and exclusive Steam community profile bundle. I still don't really know what that is. Hey, future me again, have to interject once more. And just to clarify this, I did figure out this morning what that whole Steam profile bundle was, because I was really confused about it. All it is like you can change your icon for your Steam profile to give you some free icons. I think it was just one, and it's like the Steam Deck logo and the circle blinks, and then I didn't really check the rest. There might be some more. There might be like maybe a new background or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really look that hard when it came to that, because I like my profile set up the way it is. But that's what it is. I do know that one thing to mention is you do get a lot of Steam points once you get your Steam Deck, and I'll show you in a moment. But one thing you should definitely do is head over to Steam, and one thing you can do with your Steam Deck, they added a new section so you can change your keyboard, and I believe they're going to start adding new things. But once you get your Steam Deck, you'll have a lot of points, Steam points, so go ahead and use it for a keyboard. Back to what I was saying before I forgot. So I got the 256 gig with the NVMe SSD, and then the tier above that, or the next Steam Deck above that, for $649 is the 512 gigabyte version. They're all relatively similar. They're all pretty similar. The only real thing is like the storage and type of storage you'll get. Both the middle tier and the high tier have the NVMe, and the only one that's different is the last tier with the eMMC, which from what I can tell with anybody that has gotten it, runs perfectly fine for them. Just make sure you get an SD card. And when it comes to that memory, or actually, you know what? One thing I want to mention as well, the reason why I didn't get the top tier, one, very expensive, but also I didn't see the point. A lot of people are going to have their different reasons and opinions as to why they chose one tier over the other. This is just my personal opinion. But the reason why I chose the middle tier is because I consider myself very tech savvy, but I know my limits, and I don't want to be opening this thing up. I really don't. I'm going to circle back to something else after this, but I don't want to be opening it up. I've never worked on like a phone. I've never worked on really like back in engineering I did, but it's been a very long time since I've like messed around with very small components, you know what I mean? So I'm not comfortable opening this thing up to remove the eMMC and add an NVMe. I'd rather just pay the extra, bite the bullet, pay the extra, and get the extra gigabytes, and already have it come with an NVMe SSD. And the only other reason to get the top tier, the 512 gigabytes outside of the storage, I don't see the point of going the top tier route for the storage, because you can just get an SSD or an SD card, and a micro SD card. But the only other reason to go with the top tier one, the $649 one, is because it comes with a what was it? It says premium anti-glare etched glass. I don't see the purpose of that, just because you can just get a screen protector. So I'd rather just go on Amazon, get a screen protector, or whatever other, website that you guys may prefer. So I'm not spending $649 for basically something that I could just get a $10 screen protector for. And that's really it. And the extra gigabytes, which you can, again, just like go get an SD card. So I thought the middle tier was perfect. Another thing to mention, you can check how many like hours you're gonna get on the game right here. Wow, that's a little wild. So one thing to mention here is I turned on this game, Outer Wilds, on the Steam Deck. It has not been that long, and I was at like 90 something percent, and I am already at like 64%. Wow. Hello again. I do need to add, when it comes to the battery life, now that I have a little bit more experience with it, I know that you can turn down the brightness, and you can turn down the brightness. You can play around with the frame rates. You can play around in the settings and get that battery percentage up. But another thing to mention is that your battery depletion largely depends on the type of game that you're playing. Because for example, I mentioned here that the battery drained when it came to Outer Wilds from like 90 to 60 super quick. But when it came to Temtem, well, I was getting maybe like 5-6 hours out of it. I was not even thinking about the battery life at all. The controls feel very, very well. They feel good. They feel just like they feel like a controller, like a PlayStation controller or something like that, which I think is amazing. One thing I do want to mention that Nintendo does have over the Steam Deck is, what if you get stick drift? What if something happens to these? I feel like it's a lot less likely to happen with these analog sticks. But what happens if you get stick drift with the analog sticks, or one of your buttons get all jacked up or something like that? One thing Nintendo does have over the Steam Deck is, or the Nintendo Switch has over the Steam Deck, is you can just remove and replace your controllers. You can just slide them out, grab a new pair, slide them in. With this, you can't really do that. There's a lot of people who are very tech savvy and they've already changed these controllers, but I'm not one to be opening it up like that. When it comes to durability, your guess is as good as mine. I'm not going to be throwing this thing around for you. It was very expensive. It took me very long to get. So I won't be testing its durability or anything like that. That's a video you're going to have to find somewhere else. One thing I will say though is that, like, again, it feels fine. It feels premium, but it is very light. I don't know. I get this feeling that, like, you really should not drop it. Like the Nintendo Switch, I've dropped maybe like 2 or 3 times, perfectly fine, doesn't even have a scratch on it. I do have a screen protector on it, and that's something I need to hurry up and grab when it comes to the Steam Deck. But with this Steam Deck, it being very light, it being very plasticky, I do worry about dropping it, so try not to do that. When it comes to Nintendo versus or the Nintendo Switch versus the Steam Deck, a lot of people are like, oh, you can't really compare that. Yes, you can. Shut your mouth. Yes, you can. Literally, the form factor of the Steam Deck is based on but improved upon the Nintendo Switch in most areas. Like I said, I do like the fact that you can change the Joy-Cons and all that stuff. I do like the Nintendo Switch when it comes to it versus the Steam Deck. Obviously, in terms of power and performance, the Steam Deck, beats it by leagues and bounds. But when it comes to battery life, man, as I just showed you, it's obviously the Nintendo Switch has a lot better. But also, the Steam Deck is running games that are a lot more powerful, and that's another thing. The library, I feel like you get a better bang for your buck when it comes to the amount of games that you get on the Steam Deck because of Steam. Everything's on Steam. Now even PlayStation games are coming to Steam, with like God of War, for example. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, the Switch is cool, but again, like, I feel like I'm only playing like a handful of games, and when it comes to indie titles, you're more hoping and praying that the indie title that you like may hopefully one day come to the Switch. Is not a guaranteed thing, whereas it's coming to Steam, you don't know if it's coming to Nintendo. You just kind of hope and pray, and then the Steam Shop is, or it's not the Steam Shop, I take that back. The Steam Shop, absolutely fantastic. What I meant to say was the eShop on Nintendo. It's ass. And again, there's not a lot of there's indie games on there. Not a lot of the indie games that I want have made its way to the Nintendo. That's another thing. Them as a company isn't that great. I hate what they do with scouring YouTube or searching YouTube as best as possible and removing content, people's content, and they're very anti-consumer, and I don't know, it's. So I want to make something very clear. I do like my Nintendo Switch. And it wasn't, and maybe I would have had a different story if it wasn't for just recently. My friend's birthday passed. He has a Nintendo Switch that he never got games for, so I went and got him Mario Kart 8. I came over, gave it to him. We had a blast. Mario Kart 8 is a ton of fun. Yeah, Mario Kart 8 is a ton of fun, and that's the thing. The Nintendo Switch is amazing for, you know, your family, for yourself. It's great for parties. But my point that I'm trying to make here is that as fantastic as the Nintendo Switch is, because the games that Nintendo comes out with is extremely polished, they're extremely fun, and they're one of the few companies that still prioritize maybe like split screen, because that's what we were doing with Mario Kart, and it was a lot more fun that way. But I feel like with Nintendo, despite the indie titles that may or may not make its way over to there, like for example Katana Zero's awesome, but for every awesome indie game there's a ton of them that are just like ass. The eShop is full of just completely random crappy games. But the point that I'm trying to make is, again, Nintendo's games are great, but you see the same faces over and over and over and over again. You know, you see there's different types of games, but with the same faces. So when me and my friend were over, we were playing, or when I was over his house, we were playing Mario Kart 8. We were playing Luigi's Mansion. We were playing, well, Cuphead's different. That's an indie game that made its way to the Switch, and it's amazing, hard but amazing. But Luigi's Mansion is an absolutely incredible game. It's one of the very few games nowadays that I played from start to finish. Same thing goes for Mario Odyssey. Smash we tried as well. That's an amazing game as well. But that's the thing. I feel like my point is, over on the Steam Deck, you get there's way more IPs, and you get like a variety of different types of games that you wouldn't even expect to like. You can find when it comes to like the amount of indie developers that are on Steam. And the thing with Steam is that you can get any game from supporting your indie devs all the way up to AAA titles. But that's another thing with the Steam Deck. You can also emulate games. You can emulate the Switch on there if you really wanted to, but also you can emulate the PS3, you can emulate the PS2. That I do a lot. I play a lot of like Sly Cooper, Beautiful Joe, Dino Crisis. I'm trying to think of what else. There's a ton of games. I love my PS2. I still have it. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or 2. 2 is what I ever had. I think 3 is what I got on the emulation, because I never got a chance to play it growing up. But anyway, yeah, hate Nintendo as a company, love their games. When it comes to the games, yes, you get different types of games coming from them, but it's the same characters over and over and over again. There's more variety over on Steam. And I already know there's going to be people like, oh, well, they're two different companies, they focus on two different things. Sure, but the reason I'm making the comparison here is because they're both handhelds, they're both portables. So if there was somebody that like maybe had $400 to spend, and they're deciding between the Steam Deck or the Nintendo Switch, I would go with the Steam Deck. Go with the Steam Deck. Just get the base model of the Steam Deck for basically the same price, or around the same price, maybe a little bit more expensive than the Switch, because you're going to have a way better experience. You're going to be able to do way more. Also, though, as I'm making these points to you, like as I'm speaking, I do understand now why some people would say you really shouldn't compare the two, because yes, you can technically emulate games over on the Steam Deck, but at the same time, there is a lot the Switch does bring to the table. Like if I go to a party and people are most likely going to be asking to play Mario Kart or Smash Bros. And what I'm definitely not going to be doing, is bringing my Steam Deck over. That's for me and me personally. That's more of a personal device to play your AAA titles, your indie titles, and all that stuff. And then my Switch is something that I'm gonna bring to a friend's house. I'm gonna play, I'm gonna let their kids play with, or I'm gonna play with their kids, or my nephew or my niece. Definitely wouldn't be the Steam Deck. The Switch, yeah, that's fine. So is the Steam Deck a Nintendo Switch killer? No, not necessarily. I think if you're gonna choose one, you're gonna be choosing one for two completely different experiences. One's way more personal, the other one's way more family oriented. Another thing that I can say in Nintendo's favor, though, is when it comes to Steam points versus, like, I don't know what they're called. I can't remember what they're called in Nintendo. Nintendo coins, Nintendo points, whatever they are. Over on Nintendo, you can use those points for, input those coins or points towards another game. You can put them towards taking some money, getting a game at a discounted price or getting a game completely free. So whenever you purchase a game over on Nintendo or anything in the eShop, you get points in that eShop. Steam has the exact same thing, but they don't allow you to. It's limited to now. What's new is that you can get new keyboards for your Steam Deck, but other than that, you can get like maybe avatars, so profile pictures, and backgrounds. But it would be a lot nicer if you could use those Steam points towards games. I think it would have been very cool because like I can't remember. I have like 160 or 190K or 190,000 Steam points. It would be I think 55,000 of them. I can't remember the exact amount because I quickly looked at it when I bought, because you get a lot of points when you buy the Steam Deck, and I think I mentioned that earlier. I think it was like 50 something thousand. It would be very nice if after making a purchase like the Steam Deck, you can turn around and maybe afford maybe one free game, and you can use the rest of the points that you may have left over towards like avatars and upgrading your profile to make it look cooler. Which brings me to the fact that Steam sales are incredible. Everything, like you put a game in your cart or your wish list for a long time, and eventually it just goes on sale. People blow a lot of money, I do, on games that are on Steam because they're just going on sale so fast like that. Sometimes very quickly even after the game comes out. And the polar opposite would be over at Nintendo, where all of their games, new or old, even very, very old games, as good as they are old and are still basically full price. All right, enough. That's the end of that. Enough talking about Nintendo before I get like a knock on the door and a bullet through the fucking skull. I made a video a long time ago about the Steam Deck. I was initially excited about it when it was first announced way back when, and I was looking forward to it. And then life goes on. It didn't come out, didn't get announced, and with a release date for a long time, and I kind of moved on. So my initial hype that I had went down, and then a while later, the Steam Deck gets brought back up, and there, it's coming out. You're able to pre-order it. I pre-ordered it. I then canceled that pre-order. And then I re-pre-ordered it, and I don't know why, I can't remember my reason for canceling that first pre-order, but I canceled it, and then I re-pre-ordered it again in February of last year, and I just kind of, a lot of time, between now and then, a lot of time passed. Everybody was hyped, and some people were getting the Steam Deck that pre-ordered like really, really early, and then I don't know, I just kind of moved on. The Steam Deck was taking a long time to roll out to people. I moved on from it. The initial hype was gone. People talking about it didn't get me hype anymore. I didn't really care. I thought it was cool, but my hype was gone. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it for like a year. You know what I mean? So, and then, fast forward, here we are. I get that confirmation message that is like, hey, pay the money, get your Steam Deck. And by then I totally forgot about it. Like I was getting a bunch of videos popping up for the Steam Deck from people who were getting theirs, or around the same time that I got my confirmation. But I wasn't really ready for it. Like by then I just wasn't really thinking about it. To me, it came as a surprise, and it was like pay your money now. You have 2 days left, and it was like, what? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Wow, I can't even wait. But so it was like do I really want to spend this money right now? And how often am I really going to use it? And that's to be discovered, because I haven't really given it any time yet. This is just the first impressions, but a lot of thoughts were going on through my mind. The initial hype for me was gone, and then I was very worried about the battery life, for example. But all in all, I wound up saying, hey, my birthday's next month, October 20th, and I figured like, oh, okay, let's just get it as an early birth. That's a shit way to justify it, but let me get it as an early birthday gift to myself. I do plan on one of these days leaving the country, maybe, or at least traveling a little bit more and leaving the state. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Why not? Let me grab it. I've been waiting a year for it. My initial hype is gone now, sure. But like, will I regret it if I pass up the opportunity to grab it now? So I decided like, you know what? Let me just grab it. And that leads me to the last thing that I think I want to bring up today, which is, we go back to the choose your deck page, and it looks like this is awesome. It looks like the window, they did mention the fact that Q4 people are or being pushed down or moved back down to Q3, and everyone will be able to get their Steam Deck this year, by the end of this year, because they ramped up production, and they did exactly that. And now if we go to the choose your Steam Deck page, you can see, like, you know, you can get it between, you know, this year, all three, this year, and between next month, October and December. Like, so you're not waiting that long. You won't be waiting another year to get your Steam Deck, which is awesome. And then this brings me to my last point. I haven't seen it so far because I just got my Steam Deck, but what I've been hearing about is, man, Steam is on it when it comes to the Steam Deck. So in my initial video way back when I first heard about the Steam Deck, one of the things that concerned me was like the Steam Machine, for example. They kind of like, that project isn't successful or they abandon it, but they seem to really be following through with making everyone happy with the Steam Deck. They know that they have a good product here, and like literally when problems are especially not like Nintendo doesn't give a shit about people at all. But it seems like if there's any issue that comes up when it comes to the Steam Deck, Steam is on it. They want to hear what you have to say about it. They want to hear the complaints that you have about it, and they want to fix it. And that got me very excited. So like the Steam actually, you know, giving a shit about the product that they put out, them listening to the community, them rolling out like very frequent updates, I think is awesome. But again, like, man, having my Steam library on the go, really, really cool. There's going to be plenty of things I forget to mention. Like there's also, you know, you can dock it. You can also, unlike the Nintendo Switch, you can set up any controller with this, any mouse and keyboard if you want to, any Bluetooth headset. You can also use a wired headset, as it has a aux cord port at the top of the Steam Deck. So if you want to hook up your Xbox or PlayStation 5 controller, you can do that as well with the Steam Deck. As some of you know, even without docking it, you can also go into desktop mode, and that's a big thing as well. Keep in mind that this isn't really a console, or isn't just a console. It is a computer. It is a PC in the form of a handheld. So you can browse on it. It runs Linux. You can get Windows on it. You can get, you can get different emulators on it, and you can download files and do what you want to do as if you're on a regular computer. You can actually use this as a regular computer. You know, dock it, set it up with a mouse and keyboard, or just put it in desktop mode, and, you know, the interface will look like a PC. So let's also not forget one of the biggest draws to this device, and that's not only being able to bring your entire Steam library with you anywhere you want to go, but also the fact that you can play your games on Steam on your computer and have your Steam Deck, you know, turned off and locked away somewhere or what have you, and you can stop playing on your computer and pick up exactly where you left off on your Steam Deck, and vice versa. There are going to be several things that I may have missed. Let me know what they are in the comment section. I know, like, one thing I forgot to bring up is the fact that it's touchscreen. You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know that already, but there are going to be several things that I've missed with this device. I haven't had it that long yet, and I haven't watched a lot of other YouTubers videos on it, other than like maybe like what games I should play for it. But I have plenty. I need to play the games that I actually have. So that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Sorry that this video is so long. I just had a lot to say about the Steam Deck. I'm very excited about it. It has a lot going on for it. It has a large community behind it, and it's just a really cool device. I know I was all over the place with this video, and the editing wasn't that great, but that's because I never meant to make a first impressions video. Literally, I sat down to do an unboxing. I went for a run with my dog, because as soon as I sat down, he wanted to go for a walk. He does that every time I sit down at the computer. And I was thinking about the Steam Deck the whole time I was gone. I came back and I just had a lot to say about it. All right, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.